So first, though I am the Secretary General of the International Peace Research Association, and I've been honored for years now, though we are an organization that's democratic, so I'm term limited out. This is my last year. I'm happy about that. But I've been honored to play a role, meeting and learning and networking and communicating with all kinds of peace builders from every walk of life, including many indigenous peoples. In general, I'm not going to take it as my position to speak for other people, to answer that question on behalf of indigenous peoples and their peace-building skills, knowledge, wisdom, and history. I'm especially not going to do that when one of the most profound indigenous peace builders I've met recently, who is an actual human bridge between indigenous communities in this area and this university and academics in general, is in the room. So if we want a real answer to that, and that question is good at this university because just yesterday there was this opening of this space at this university that's intended for dialogue and conversation across the communities, which also means across the generations, which also means connecting to knowledge that's not just about humans. If you really want an answer to that question here and today in this room, I'm going to have to, the best I can do, if partners accept this challenge, is to give voice to the people in the room that can answer that question. But if you're willing to give an answer to that question, I'll give you a minute to think about it before you come up. For my organization, International Peace Research Association, in this last period that I've been in leadership, and also in cooperation with our Latin American Peace Research Council, our Continental Council, as well as our Asia Pacific and African councils, and our North American one as well, we have spent this last period looking at decolonizing the academy, at decolonizing peace studies. And because of that, and in context of that, every 2 years we hold a conference, a global gathering somewhere on the planet, somewhere in the world. And we have now been planning, a year and a half ago, we held it in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, nearby here, working with indigenous communities there and having part of the conference, the ending of it, on Maroon indigenous lands. And to deepen that, to go a step further, we are having as our next major conference, the end of this year, as far as we know, the first major global, truly global peace-building conference with people from every corner of the planet, to be held wholly on, completely from beginning, middle to end, on indigenous lands, in Aotearoa, which is the indigenous name for New Zealand, in the Pacific, hosted by the Maori people there. So we are digging deep into the understanding that we have that indigenous knowledge in peace building is central to understanding about peace everywhere, for all of us. And so I'm very proud that the end of my tenure as Secretary General is going to be there, again, mainly as a student. I mean, I'm honored to be this US guy, you know, whatever, from New York, to be at the head of this at this moment. But I go there to finish my term as Secretary General as a student, to learn. Because one thing I've learned after all of these years of doing this work is how much we have to learn. And indigenous peoples have huge amounts of that knowledge. No one has the answer. No one has the answer. But in general, indigenous peoples have huge amounts of knowledge about peace building to learn that we have not been paying enough attention to.